You are drowning in a sea of your own making. You asked for more responsibilities, more friends, more hobbies, more money, more life. And the world, in its cruel indifference, gave it all to you. Now, you are suffocating under the crushing weight of your own perpetual agreement. We have been sold a dangerous illusion, a cultural myth that doing everything is the only path to having everything. But the brutal truth of the human condition is the exact opposite. The more directions you attempt to move in simultaneously, the less distance you travel in any of them. You become stretched, thin and translucent, until you tear. Think of this illusion like trying to hold 24 smooth, heavy glass marbles in a single hand. You cup your palm, stretching your fingers to their absolute physical limit, terrified of losing even one. But as you walk, the friction fails. You squeeze tighter to keep them all secure, but that very pressure causes them to slip, sliding against one another, falling to crash and shatter on the cold stone floor one by one. You end up with empty, aching hands and a floor covered in broken glass. Biologically, this is decision paralysis masked as ambition. When your brain is constantly presented with an endless buffet of equivalent rewards and obligations, your dopamine pathways short-circuit. The cognitive load required just to maintain the awareness of these endless possibilities depletes the executive function of your prefrontal cortex before you even wake up and step out of bed. You are chronically exhausted because your mind is running 1,000 complex background simulations, fretting over paths not taken and tasks left undone, none of which are actually happening in the present moment. You are not tired from doing too much. You are tired from trying to process the concept of everything at once. Look at how this disease manifests in your daily work. You have trained yourself to mistake frantic motion for meaningful progress. You answer every single email within minutes. You agree to take every useless meeting. You volunteer to join every peripheral project that crosses your desk. It feels exactly like standing in front of a massive, ancient forest, swinging a dull iron axe at 100 different trees. You run from trunk to trunk, taking a single desperate swing at the bark, leaving nothing but a shallow, meaningless scratch. You are sweating. Your muscles are screaming. Your lungs are burning with exhaustion. But at the end of the year, not a single tree has fallen. The forest remains exactly as it was, silently mocking your frantic labor. Psychologically, this is known as task-switching fatigue. The human brain cannot multitask. It can only switch its focal point rapidly. Every single time you shift your attention from a deep, meaningful project to a shallow notification or a sudden request, your brain leaves a microscopic residue of attention behind. Your cognitive bandwidth relentlessly narrows as the day goes on. You aren't being productive. You're micro-quitting your actual priorities 100 times an hour. If you do not ruthlessly prioritize your own schedule, your boss, your inbox, and the world will gladly prioritize it for you, using your life energy to build their own empires. Look at how this infects your relationships. You spread your social and emotional energy so violently thin, desperately trying to keep dozens of shallow connections alive, terrified of missing out, terrified of not being liked by everyone you meet. It feels like trying to water a vast, barren desert with a single, tiny watering can. You walk miles under the scorching sun, pouring a single drop of water onto patches of cracked, dead earth. The moisture evaporates the very second it touches the dirt, leaving absolutely nothing nourished. Meanwhile, back at your home, the rare, beautiful, irreplaceable flower resting on your windowsill is slowly wilting and dying from sheer neglect. Anthropologically, we are bound by Dunbar's number, a hard biological limit on the number of meaningful, stable social relationships the human brain can actually sustain. By stubbornly refusing to let go of peripheral acquaintances and hollow networking connections, you actively starve your core circle of intimacy and depth. Your brain registers these endless, shallow interactions as social junk food. They provide a fleeting, microscopic spike in dopamine when you get a text or a like, but they leave a lingering, heavy sense of profound isolation and emptiness in your chest. Look at your own mind. Look at your internal monologue. It is a battlefield of clutter, overflowing with half-finished hobbies, abandoned fitness goals, and competing identities of who you think you are supposed to be. Your mind resembles a hoarder's attic. It is dark, suffocating, and smells of dust and regret. Stacks of cardboard boxes are piled dangerously high, all the way to the ceiling, filled with discarded, half-attempted versions of your life. You cannot walk from one end of your own mind to the other without tripping over the heavy, wooden furniture of your own unresolved ambitions. There is no empty space left to simply sit and breathe. In clinical psychology, the Zeigarnik effect dictates that uncompleted tasks occupy a disproportionately massive amount of space in our active memory. Every casual maybe and someday that you refuse to definitively discard acts as a parasitic, invisible drain on your baseline mental energy. You are trapped in a perpetual state of cognitive dissonance, entirely unable to rest, because the mental tabs in your brain are never, ever closed. You are holding on to a dozen different lives, preventing yourself from actually living the one you are in. There is another way. It is the philosophy of essentialism. It is the disciplined, quiet, unyielding pursuit of less. It is the profound realization that a meaningful life is not about getting more things done. It is about getting the right things done and leaving the rest to simply fade away. Imagine a master botanist standing before a magnificent, sprawling rose bush in the early days of spring. The bush is bursting with vibrant, green, healthy shoots. It is exploding with life in every direction. To the untrained eye, it looks wildly successful, but the wise gardener knows a brutal, unspoken truth of nature. If every single branch is allowed to grow, the roots simply cannot extract enough nutrients from the soil to support them all. The plant will survive, yes, but it will only produce dozens of small, weak, mediocre, scentless flowers. So the gardener steps forward with a pair of heavy, razor-sharp steel shears, and he begins to cut. He does not just cut the dead, rotting wood. He slices off completely healthy, vibrant, beautiful branches. He lets them fall to the wet dirt below. He reduces this massive, sprawling bush to just a few bare, strong stalks. To a novice, this looks like violence. It looks like destruction, but it is an act of profound love. Because now, all the water, all the vital nutrients, all the fierce life force of the earth is channeled directly, intensely into those few remaining stems. When summer arrives, those stems will not produce dozens of weak buds. They will produce blooms so massive, so deeply crimson, and so breathtakingly fragrant that they command the absolute attention of the entire garden. The bush reaches its highest possible potential precisely because it was stripped of its good branches to make way for its greatest ones. This is the applied neuroscience of deliberate trade-offs. The human prefrontal cortex, the seat of your highest intelligence and creativity, thrives entirely on singular directed focus. When you voluntarily and deliberately eliminate secondary options, you drastically reduce the noise-to-signal ratio in your central nervous system. You instantly reclaim the massive amounts of cognitive energy that were previously wasted on endless deliberation and anxiety. You step out of the frantic, toxic rhythm of modern hustle culture where everyone is desperately, foolishly trying to keep every single branch alive, and you step quietly into the cold, sharp power of mastery. Slow is smooth, and smooth is fast. By choosing less, you move infinitely further. Your task for today is simple, but it will feel like tearing a muscle from the bone. You must practice the exquisite pain of intentional refusal. You're going to say no to a genuinely good opportunity so that you preserve the empty space required for a truly great one. It will feel terrifying. It will feel like holding a heavy, rusted iron key in your hand, walking up to a deep, dark stone well, and intentionally letting it slip from your fingers. You will stand there and listen to the cold splash at the bottom. That door is now locked forever. You cannot go back. There will be a sharp, stinging pain of loss in your chest, but it will be immediately followed by the sudden, breathtaking lightness of your empty hands. Your brain is hardwired for scarcity and survival. It will scream at you that this is a catastrophic mistake. It will whisper that you are missing out, that you are falling behind your peers, that you are throwing away your only chance at a future. Let it scream. This is merely the ancient reptilian part of your brain reacting blindly to perceived deprivation. Let the wave of anxiety wash completely over you and do absolutely nothing. Stand still in the storm. Let the heavy silence of that refusal settle deep into your bones. Say no to a good project. Say no to a decent invitation. Say no to a moderate distraction. Guard your time, guard your energy, and guard your attention with the terrifying ferocity of a wild creature protecting its young. Your life is a finite, unrenewable resource. Every single day, a piece of it burns away, turning into gray ash and floating into the ether, never to return. You cannot stop the burning. The clock ticks for all of us, but you possess the ultimate power. You get to choose exactly what you illuminate with your flame. Stop trying to set fire to the whole world. It will only leave you shivering in the dark, surrounded by smoke and ruins. Choose your fire. Choose your focus. Choose your less. Stay unrushed.